Hello, hello. Today, what I want to talk about is this idea was the rancher gave me this idea. It's a great idea, and that is what sort of rule of watch collection do you have that's been the best for you? How you doing, Mark? Good to see you. So, um, hey, ugly duckling. Oh, thanks on the word on it. Hi, Paul. Mushy, mushy. Hey, football fan. How you guys doing? Hi, Graham. Thomas, good to see you. John, hi, John. Hi, Junior. Caesar, good to see you. Alejandro. Okay, let's get started here. Um, so what would you say is your personal rule that served you the best in terms of watch collection? Hey, Tim, how you doing? I think I there's it's sort of hard to say. I think at the one rule is that I have was always research your watch, whatever watch you're going to get. Be sure to do the research, find out the movement. Um, that's the big thing is finding out the movement of it. I guess that one has served me well. I can't say that I've always been successful. I've been hornswoggled a couple times. It's 4 a.m. Caesar? My goodness. Are you, where are you? Hey, uh, never let my wife knows the price I pay for my watches. That's a very good one. Hey, Koji, no more impulse purchases. Do your homework. Yeah. Yeah, I get that's my best rule. I can't say I always follow it, but that's my best rule. Hey, Paul, stick to the price I had in mind after doing the research and never fall victim to creep. That's a really good one, Paul. I like that one. Buy a watch that looks similar to others because the wife won't notice. Oh, Graham. My personal rules in terms of watch is definitely not to buy an alternative watch. I'd rather wait and pay more for the one. That's sort of a that's yeah, I like that. I I think that sometimes there'll be a watch that I want, and so I'll look at an alternative and I'll find I like the alternative better. I say, wow, I this is really nice. So sometimes the alternative, at least for me, is a better choice. Hey, Brian, want to get a standard VC patrimony and getting it now on the gray market since ADs are at least 20% more. Yeah, I don't call it the gray market. I call it the secondary market. I think it was given the gray market by the people who are the ADs for that very reason to make it sound a little iffy. It's not. It's where lots of watches go. Hey, lease time. How are things in Hamburg? The Keycat dance. What is Oh, you're in Bali. Oh, you're in Indonesia, Caesar. That would be the last place I would have guessed. It's 4 in the morning in Bali. What could be more fun than that with a watch? A watch you like. Oh, that's my new rule is not to have a watch delivered to my house. I know why that one is. That's that's boy, that's a good rule. I tell you, I was thinking about it earlier today, and the best rule that I've always followed, this may sound minor, and this is never have a watch with a gator strap shipped from overseas. Early on in my collection years, that happened once. It was a nightmare, and that was the most never, ever, ever do it. Uh, the best thing to do if you're getting a watch with gator straps, because I do like gator straps, um, is to simply have them sent to you, like send them in a totally separate thing. If they're legal and they come through, fine. If not, if they're stopped by customs, they get the strap, but they don't get the watch. I ask them, just send me the buckle and the watch. Send the band separately. And like I said, is that if it's done, just stick it in one of those mailers. That's all you have to do. The ones that they go after, as I don't know, they have such a weird thing with gator straps, and the gators aren't the endangered species. I'm all for protecting endangered species, but sometimes you end up people doing things they shouldn't do. Hey, Alexander, how you doing, man? Thomas, I always use a rule that our good friend, Bruce, used: buy what you love and love what you buy. Yeah, right before Bruce died, he got a bluesy. He had wanted this Rolex bluesy for it, and he got that. And that was such a sad thing. There was this Bruce and I, and who's the other guy with us? There was three of us. I still have that picture around that we were at the Watch Time show. Yeah, no, he was a guy who was great to be around. He was just a good guy. I'm going to say secondary market now on. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. You're out of sort of a trap, really, is what it is, I think. Hey, Dean, how you doing? Nigel, good to see you. Okay, my rules. Okay, Washington football fan. Boy, I tell you, what is it, Ed or Eric or something like that? You got to give me a simpler name, because not only that, but Washington keeps changing its name. Okay, nothing over 41 millimeters. Okay, try not to settle for automatics. Only buy watches with shaped movements. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, ugly duckling. Never say to your wife it will be the last one you purchase. How you doing, John? Truman, good to see you. Um, those are all good rules. I have There was a watch I've been looking at, and it's a very interesting thing. And I think this brought to mind the thing about shipping with gator straps. There's this watch I'm looking at. The guy has it for sale, and it has a gator strap. If you look at the pictures, he shows the inside of the strap, and it says genuine alligator on it. Okay. But then in his listing, he has it listed as leather. And if I hadn't have looked to see, I would have not told the guy, said, look, if I get this watch, do not send the straps with it. I think the guy lives in a country that they could care less. Some countries, sites, they're not big about it. other countries are, and I think I know the U.S. is, but never, 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 never have anybody ship you a watch with a gator strap. Um, I don't care where they live. Always, if they're going to ship it to you, just have them say, "Look, put it in an envelope, a shipping envelope." I know this one guy that used to smuggle them in brochures. He was to send me a brochure, some travel brochure or something. Just put it in there. You just stick it into a regular one of those cardboard FedEx mailers, and there's never a problem with those, and you don't look like you're smuggling something. My wife laughs at me every time I tell her that. Okay, what was it? Oh, what's the next watch? um, what is my next watch? Probably will be the Etude number 3. No, Etude number 2. I haven't got number 2 yet. But there was this one I I do this every now and then. I can't help myself. There was a watch that was at a good price. And the good price was a good price for that watch. I'm not saying it's a good price, period. So I thought, well, I'll throw a low ball at it and see what happens. And I'm thinking, what was I thinking? What did I do that for? And the last time I did it, the guy, yeah, okay, here you get the watch. And I got a fantastic, that Fabergé I got that way. And it's I just love that watch. So it's worked out well. On the other hand, it's not the smartest thing to do unless you really like the watch. Of course, with us, I can really like the watch. I've got to sell some watches. If you want to buy a watch, just ask me. I'll sell you one. I don't know. I got to figure that out. Usually, what I tell you for selling watches, what I like the best is sell them at auction. I usually get a pretty good price that way. Um, and you don't have to argue, you don't have to bicker and so forth. And the seller, they charge you a little percent, but not very much. Um, and then they tell you the other thing they do with auctions, if you're bidding on an auction in Hong Kong or Timbuktu or someplace, and you win, they say they will take care of the whole thing with the strap. They'll send you a leather strap so you don't have to worry about it. If they have a gator strap on it, you don't get it, period. Hi, idle time. Between 39 and 45 millimeters, and I don't like cluttered, busy, or skeleton dials. Yeah, I don't like those either. I have I like nice clean dials or something with one really interesting thing. There's not a tourbillon, but a Rematoir Egalite on a Gronfeld watch, and it's just this little thing up there that says I'm a Rematoir, and I like that. Hi, Al 29. I'm at work in the break room eating popsicles. Oh, right. I just had popsicles for lunch. That's part of my my feed. I, you know, I sometimes I feel like a dog. My wife hears this. She knows why I eat. It's Chopin, would be E major, F minor. What? Soar. Let me see. Okay. Etude number 3 in D minor. Ah, okay, Hans. Now I understand the musical stuff. Hey, Art. My rule is to lie to my wife about the cost. I have a rule too. If I get something really nice, I like to get my wife something too. Unfortunately, the balance looks like this, but there's also too. I think I just got a really good watch worth of we had to put a new front door in and a new portico. That's going to eat up my watch budget. Something terrible. I think it's important to be patient. Watch collecting is a marathon, not a sprint. Boy, Caesar, you're right. Caesar at 4 o'clock in Bali. That's a great one. That's a great place. I don't know why. I'm doing Bali time. I use sore etudes for warming up my. Oh, okay, you guys, you're off on the music thing. Oh, there's quite strict rules in Guernsey, a reference to the import of alligator straps and the likes. Yeah. Yeah, this is a funny thing. I am very much for the protection of endangered species. I don't know, some of these idiots who go after, they're not going to be any more of the species left. If you're making your living off of elephant tusk and going in and having poachers kill these elephants, there's not going to be elephants left. The same is true for some of these other exotic animals. But you take your run of the mill Florida gator, they got lots and lots of them. Joka said, I promised myself not to purchase any watch to my multi brands AD for the sake of getting the watch. Yeah. Yeah, I think I understand that. That's a good rule. Hey Chandon, which watch look uh took you the longest to acquire? What watch took us? I'll tell you, it's really funny. It wasn't that expensive, but it was this watch right here. This watch took me a year of bugging this guy. That was what it was. I saw this watch. I liked it. I mean, it's really nice. It's got a gold rotor with what's it called? Not buckwheat, but I forgot the name of the motif on the back of the rotor. But what happened? I just kept going after the guy, and he finally gave up. Nobody else wanted it, and I think it was because of the robin's egg blue dial on it. But I like it. It was just this has been a wonderful watch. After getting a really great price on it, after a couple of years, the stem broke, and I had to have it serviced, and it cost me $1,000 for the service on this at the Parmigiani Service Center in Miami. I think they closed it, by the way. I don't know. I may be wrong, but I checked for somebody. I didn't see it anymore. But they did a fantastic job, and it was like getting a brand new watch. And it simply took me the longest, not because of the saving, but rather because of the because I had to wear the poor guy down. Another thing, a really funny thing about that, I think somebody mentioned patience. For the longest time, I wanted one of the Chanel Monsieur, I think it's called Chanel Monsieur. And that's the ones with the jumping hours and the retrograde minutes. I just love that watch. And Romain Gauthier was one of the guys who worked on the movement. And I think in fact, I think all of the parts in there are from his manufacturing. And what happened with that was just sort of a number of things came together. I sold some watches at auction and some other ones, and this happened and that happened. And then all of a sudden there was one that was in the, hand grenade range, and I was able to get it. And I think that had to do more with patience, because those things they're pretty expensive. I'll put it that way, especially for my budget. Um, I trust most gators come from farms. Yeah, right. Oh, plenty in Malaysia. I don't think gators are at risk anymore. No, you're right, Caesar. I think I got they got the 4 a.m. version in Bali, so be careful. Speaking of critters, we had another bear yesterday. We got a call from a neighbor, says, "Oh, bear just walked through my yard." So we looked out the back window, and there was a bear. So, boy, the bears, we like bears. Gators, just something freaky about them. A couple of gator hunters in Florida just caught 100,000 alligator watch strap alligator. That's a big one. You playing on your channel or other people? Playing what? Playing something? Not sure. Hello, Chili Badger. Okay, let's see. Just landed home. Great to catch the stream. Oh, I'm glad you made it. It was a black bear. We got black bears, Koji. Um, those things, for the most part, I really like all the wild critters we have. And I don't think anybody in our neighborhood has been hurt yet. But one of the neighbor's dogs went running outside because the dog was going to go for a ride in a car. And a bear was there, and the bear was with her cubs. And there was one whack that the bear had and broke the dog's back, and that was the end of the dog. So we're very cautious around black bears because black bears are, I don't know, they don't seem to try to break in or go after people. I was going out to get the mail the other day, and this bear comes marching down, and I just went creeping back into the house. But I don't know if he saw me or not, but I don't think he would have. If he did, he could kill us. One day I was out for a walk, and I was coming home, and these people looked at me like I was dead man walking, because when I was walking, two bears walked behind me, and I didn't see them, and I was just walking along thinking about watches. Oh, wow. Yeah, I could imagine that, Caesar. Hi, Albert. Ah, good to see you. Is there a Watch Time New York this year? Junior, yes. I hope you can go. I'm going to be there Friday night, and it's on. I got my tickets, everything. I think it's on the 20th of this month. Uh, about a week ago, they said there are only 50 tickets left for the Friday night one. But if you get the Friday night ticket, you get all 3 days now. You can have a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The thing that's I like going. Usually, I'm sated by Friday night because there's so much going on. Hans, does anybody recognize you in public? Yeah, it was funny, very funny. I was wearing my, what was it? Vacheron Constantin 1921. And I was walking in the mall, and this guy comes up. He sort of looked at me funny. Then he looked at my watch, and he asked me who I was, and he got all excited about it. And he had this little girl with him, and I thought he was gonna here. You just wait over here. And, yeah, no, I have. Oh, the thing about, I recognize people too when we go to the. That's what I like about the Watch Time show. We're all there, and you know that's sort of fun there. There is one, Albert. There's one in Costa Mesa this month. Check it out. There is one this month, and it's a watch time thing. They're coming back. I think they missed it. The pandemic threw everything out of whack, and then I think they're getting it back together now. Hi, Richard. Yeah, that's about the time. It's the one on Friday night is from about, I think it's 5:30 to 8:30. So it's about 3 hours also. But I'll tell you, so much happens in that time. You have all of these watches everywhere. You're meeting people, you're talking to people, and it's great. And all the food and booze they ply you with. Oh, let's see. Jose, I'm not a watch collector, just have some vintages, everyday wear. What's your take on Grand Seiko Spring Drive? Okay, Grand Seiko Spring Drive. Let me say this. One, it incredible technology that they harness to have to generate enough basically electrical power by the movement of your wrist like an automatic. You're walking along, and instead of winding the watch, you're generating electricity for the to run the thing that runs the quartz. But I'm not into quartz watches. I like the old fashioned, going back to brigade kind of stuff. I feel the same way about silicon hairsprings. You know, you want silicon, you get a smartwatch. They have all the silicon you can shake a stick at. Truman, back to GPHG. I'm impressed by the French Picatinny movement, Caliber Royal, really affordable and beautiful. Truman, I did a video on that brand and the Caliber Royal. I haven't done much on it, but yeah, that's a good one. There's, let me say something real quick. There was sometimes you read something, and this happened the other day to me, and it's wrong. I mean, the guy with I don't know why some people try to find something negative about a watch, and they can. If you look long enough, you can find some comment that's negative about it. And this one guy found a watch. It was a ceramic. It was a ceramic version of a very good watch and a very good movement. And we had been talking about the watch, and he said, "Well, I would like the watches too. I really like those watches, yada yada yada. Except they're very fragile." I said, "Fragile? Where did you find that? I mean, who said it was fragile and why?" Well, I didn't get a response, and so I started looking for it. And I finally found it. There was a quote, and the guy had a thing of pros and cons, and he said it was fragile. Well, what he was talking about was the ceramic was fragile. And the watch I was talking about was an all stainless steel watch. And so you've got to be careful about that. I mean, you have to, I think it's important because sometimes people can drop what amounts to a poison pill, and people, wow, well, that thing, but then what they have is they sort of take one thing from one context and put it in another context, good or bad. And you sort of like, yeah, it's the kind of thing I think in part it has to do with really the importance of doing research. And if you find something that goes in a different direction than you're used to seeing in a particular watch or brand, dig to it. Maybe it's right. Maybe it's something you've been bamboozled about forever, and so you're gonna find out about it. Okay. Why is neglected caution? Why is your Twitter suspended? I didn't know it was. I haven't used Twitter in a very, very long time. When my major interest was in programming, I used Twitter a lot and communicated with other people about certain types of program. But if you're referring to me about a suspended Twitter, you mean it's called X now, I think, instead of Twitter. I don't think they suspended it, and if they did, it was because I haven't used it in a long time. No. A personal rule that served me well is that the piece needs to fulfill its function as a timepiece, not just a beautiful or interesting. Like I'm really going to wear and use this thing every day. Yeah, Rolf, I'm the same way. I'm probably, you know, I suppose if something has really good horology by a really good watchmaker, and it's out of whack somehow, and it doesn't keep as perfect time. Now, if we're getting the perfect time, we'll get a quartz because they're much better at keeping accurate time. So we have to keep in mind that we're using a somewhat archaic technology, but that's what I like about it, and that's what I like about watch collection. Context and motivation. There you go. Um, I'm absolutely about to buy a blue Milgauss, plus also the cards is a Grape Oyster Perpetual. Why did C why dial Seamaster 300? Hi, Chili. You're a Rolex guy. Does anybody nobody does. It's kids APP. Not sure what you're talking about. Hi, Forbin. Betwixt and be twittered. Okay. Hey, Richard, what's up? Let's see. My rule is never own more than 8 watches. I just broke that rule last week. I break every rule I have for a limit, but it's not a bad one. It really isn't. It's the thing about limits. If you get watches that you like so much, you don't want to get rid of them, but you like other watches. It's not easy. It's tough. You got to be tough to be a watch collector. Beside being a blooming fool, you have to be tough, a tough fool. Hans, do you think being an academic has had any bearing on your watch journey? My particular one may have, Hans, and I'll tell you why. So much of I know most academics could care less about horology or watches. Okay, they care about other things. For most of my career, so did I. Uh, but I have a lot of the stuff I did, a lot of the books I wrote was on research, and so I'm really big into research methods. And so there's to me digging and digging and digging is like what I did professionally. So if I suppose in that respect, yeah, it has. Hi, Jack. My rule is to ignore habitual contrarians. Good rule, since much of it stems from a desire to be different, to stand out, and to seek attention. I think that's right, Jack. I think that's a very good point. Hans, my rule, no rules. Yeah. Hey, Donald. Uh-oh. Frying pan time. Oh, okay. I better wrap it up then. Longines sells the yearly calendar chronograph and moonface complications under 4,000. Would you suggest it? Chandon, HS. I got and it's got a long name, a Longines for the equation of time. They have an equation of time watch. That watch is wonderful. It's got an enamel dial on it, and then it's got an equation of timeline, and it's got a couple other things too. That is a fabulous, fabulous watch, and it's several years old when they did it, but it was some kind of anniversary they had, and they made this incredible watch for it. So if you can get one of those, that would be. And I'm pretty sure you can get those well under 4,000, but they're really fantastic watches. Okay, all right. One more line, then we got to run. CCC, important rule about researching and getting knowledgeable. Yeah, there's no substitute for it. The other thing too, and this is the most important thing I think. You can talk about watch research. It's fun. If you're a watch collector, you should enjoy it. And when you find out one thing, you check it on 2 other sources just to be sure. And then you check some more. I can't tell you how much bad information is out there. These aren't bad people. Somebody made a mistake and they follow that mistake in terms of things about a watch. So that's another thing, is that if you enjoy doing it, you end up with a lot more knowledge and it's a lot more fun. The idea that it's like, digging a ditch or something like that, that's no fun. Okay, neglected Acadian. My rule is never pay more than a list price for a watch. I never pay list price for a watch. I think I bought one watch that I paid list price for, so that was my Herbering too, because there was no option. I mean, there aren't that many of them. Love that watch. But usually I try to do the opposite. I don't try to pay more than it. I it's not, there's something about this whole notion that they call it a premium. My God, I've never seen the turning a word around. That's like something out of 1984 where up is down and good is bad and so forth. That's nuts. My rule is never tell your wife what it costs. That's we all follow that rule, Paul. But don't tell anybody. Yeah, they all do. Okay, guys. Oh, what Dire Straits say: money is for nothing, and the watches is for free. Hey, Bill A, how you doing? By the way, Bill A, yeah, I want to say something. I'm working on this project for I'm cutting the base plate of these movements, and I'm trying to get these two movements close enough to create a sort of a homemade resonance movement. And Bill said, "Well, be sure to take uh the the balance wheel off." Well, in order to get the balance wheel off, what you do is that you take the balance cock and to pull it up, and it's attached to the balance wheel and the spring, and it comes down. I was and so I the first time I ever did it, and this is because of Bill's advice. He said, if you're gonna cut, do that. And so I took out for two of them, and a friend, Dominic, who was here this morning, knows about. He's a master craftsman at metal cutting and stuff, and so I'm going to be getting those back, and I hope to put my homemade resonance movement together. Okay, guys, got to run. Thank you all for coming by. Uh, Especially Caesar, who got up at 4 o'clock in the morning in Bali. Yeah, hey, PDX Rick, you're right. Take care, everyone. Got to run.